There's a commandment to know the Lord, and there's, I say the Lord, but you can call it whatever you want, to know the Almighty, and there is a commandment to love the Almighty. And I tell you, you can neither know nor love on faith alone. It's not possible. For faith is the language of exile. Faith is, I do not know something. So because I don't know it, I have faith in it because I see residue or impressions of it, but I don't see it itself. So I have faith. Faith is when my consciousness is in a reductive state and is exiled from what is. And so, because I do not understand what is, I therefore use the scientific method. I study everything that isn't, and I come to the conclusion of faith for something that I do not know, but I believe. But I will tell you that, we'll focus on Judeo-Christian for a second, that Abraham made a bond with the divine, a bond of devotion. He did not make a religion. He never started one. And Moses did not start a religion. He too made a bond. It was like a marriage. It was a union of devotion. It was a responsibility to broadcast a higher resonance in a very primitive world. That's what it was. But there was no religion and there was no faith. Because religion and faith is knowing from without. But it is not knowing from within. And there is no love in it. There is no intimacy. There is no knowing. And you cannot love somebody you do not know. You cannot be intimate. You cannot have true intimacy with someone you don't know. For spirituality is an expression of intimacy. It's an expression of intimacy. And so if an individual is quote-unquote spiritual, they'll realize the rules of spirituality are very different than the rules of religion. For religion, it's about faith, so we can compel people to believe. We can convert people by the sword, or we can throw them in a fire if they don't go like we say, because it's faith, and we're not even sure what we are having faith in. We're usually having faith in something that's really supreme and big, but for some odd reason takes on the form and ideals of our own fetishes. But in intimacy, there is none of this nonsense. There's no oppression, because spirituality is intimacy. It's like making love. It's like two people together. And two people can't be together if one person is loving and the other person is not. In coercion, that's not called love, that's called rape. And so that's very, very clear when we think about it in material terms. But very few people take it up to the spiritual abstract and say, hey, the rules of spirituality. What are the rules of spirituality? The rules of spirituality are, first of all, freedom. Freedom. Because it's impossible to choose to love if you were never free to choose it. In fact, the whole reason why the angel comes to this material realm is so they can experience true freedom. And how can they experience true freedom? Because beyond the veil, everything was so clear and transparent, there was no choice. It can only be love. Love is all that is. It's so clear. Everyone's transparent. Everyone's beautiful. It's a collective. We need to work together. Everything's so clear that it must be this way. Every other way, it's clearly death and dying and chaos. And we're from the world of eternity. So they come to this space and they forget. And they get lost in faith. And faith is very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. So many horrific things have happened in the name of faith. Faith. And each one of these faiths come from a tradition where somebody knew and somebody loved. And they've made this individual into a demagogue to such a degree that they tried to convince the public that it's not obtainable to know and to love. Even though the foundation of the three monotheistic religions, if you look in the Bible, it says clearly, love. No. It's impossible to love something you do not know. And it's impossible to know something by faith. Faith has nothing to do with it, and faith has caused tremendous problems on this world. And individuals have to learn how to know, how to love. And they cannot love if they are not in oneness. Love is counterfeit. It is a veneer. It's a veneer that hides deep shame and pain. Shame because you feel you're supposed to be something tremendous, but you have no idea how that fits into your life's narrative. You know you're supposed to be something amazing, and you just don't see it based on the terms of the world that's there. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the world has been this way. And you're here to help change that and help people know, and help people love, and help people learn from remembering instead of learning from without. That's why we come together in a circle and we discuss it. So understand, spirituality is like two people coming together and making love in the highest order, in the highest oneness, in the highest passion. And remember that. And remember that when you speak to someone about spiritual topics, or you speak about your beliefs. Remember that spirituality is an expression of love, of intimacy. And there is no intimacy or love when individuals do not choose to be free. And if individuals not choosing to be free, simply model your grace and your song. And the individual just may ask you in freedom. And then love is possible. But it is impossible to broadcast your spirituality onto another without them being free. It's impossible, because that's not spiritual. That's faith. Or that's rape. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but it really is as caustic as rape on a spiritual level. Understand that individuals came to this world in order to experience their freedom. And our world doesn't just have freedom, it has infinite variables. So when you choose to love, that love is the ultimate expression of intimacy, because you had every other choice. It wasn't like it was coming to you. So when you choose, that light that it releases in creation is profound.